I'm a baker. I learned the craft from my grandfather, who learned it in France before immigrating to America in the 1950s. For 20 years, I've owned a small bakery, making bread the old way. By hand, with patience, with love. Bread has always been my language. It's how I provide for my family, how I connect with my community, how I make sense of the world. But 6 months ago, bread became something else entirely. It became the only thing keeping my 8-year-old son alive. Charlie was diagnosed with leukemia. The chemotherapy destroyed his appetite. Everything tasted wrong. Everything made him sick. He stopped eating. He was wasting away. The doctor said if he didn't maintain his weight, his body wouldn't be strong enough for treatment. Then one morning he smelled the sourdough I was making and asked for a piece. He ate it. He kept it down. So I made him a promise. Every single day I would bake him a different bread. 365 loaves. One for every day of his first year of treatment. This is the story of how bread, not as medicine, but as love made tangible, helped my son navigate the fight of his life. Before we dive in, have you ever found an unexpected way to show love during the hardest moment of your life? Or discovered that the smallest daily ritual became the thing that kept you going? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love stories about fathers and sons, fighting impossible battles, and finding hope in the simplest things, please subscribe so you don't miss our next one. Now let me tell you about the year that changed everything, and how 365 loaves of bread became 365 reasons to keep fighting. 6 months ago, my son Charlie was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. He was 8 years old, 3rd grade, obsessed with astronauts and space and building elaborate Lego structures that took over our living room. A normal, healthy, happy kid. Until he wasn't. It started small. He was tired all the time. "I don't want to go to school, Dad. I'm too tired." I thought he was being a typical kid trying to get out of homework. Then the bruises appeared, on his legs, his arms, bruises that shouldn't have been there, from bumps that shouldn't have left marks. My wife Kayla, she's a pediatric nurse, noticed first. "Jacques, look at this. These bruises, they're not normal. Kids get bruises. Not like this, not this many. I'm taking him to the doctor." I didn't argue. Kayla knows things I don't. The pediatrician ran blood tests, called us back the same day. "I'm referring you to an oncologist. Immediately." Oncologist, cancer doctor. My stomach dropped. Dr. Albert Patel met us at Oregon Health and Science University 2 days later. He was kind but direct. "Charlie has acute lymphoblastic leukemia, ALL. It's the most common childhood cancer. The good news is it's also one of the most treatable. Survival rates for children are over 90% with the right protocol. 90%. That should have been comforting. But all I could hear was, 'My son has cancer.'" "Treatment is aggressive," Dr. Patel continued. "Chemotherapy. Multiple phases over 2 to 3 years. The first year is the hardest. Intensive treatment. Weekly hospital visits. Possible hospitalizations if his immune system crashes." Kayla was crying. I was numb. "When do we start?" I asked. "Monday. 3 days from now." The first round of chemotherapy happened on a cold Tuesday in September. They hooked Charlie up to an IV, pumped poison into his small body to kill the cancer cells that were trying to kill him. He was brave, braver than I would have been. He sat in the hospital bed reading a book about the moon while chemicals destroyed his bone marrow. "Does it hurt?" I asked. "Not yet. Dr. Patel said it might hurt later." It did hurt later. That night, and the next day, and the week after that. The side effects started almost immediately. Nausea, exhaustion. His hair started falling out in clumps. By week 2, he was completely bald. But the worst part, the thing that terrified me more than anything, was that he stopped eating. Everything made him nauseous. The smell of food, the sight of it. He'd take one bite and run to the bathroom to throw up. We tried everything. His favorite foods, mac and cheese, pizza, ice cream. Nothing worked. By week 3, he'd lost 12 pounds. His face was gaunt, his ribs visible, Doctor. Patel pulled Kayla and me into his office after Charlie's weigh-in. His weight is dropping too fast. For an 8-year-old, losing 12 pounds in 3 weeks is critical. He can't eat, Kayla said, her voice breaking. Everything makes him nauseous. We've tried everything. I understand, but here's the reality. If Charlie doesn't maintain adequate nutrition, his body won't be strong enough to handle the treatment protocol. We'll have to reduce the chemotherapy dosage, which significantly reduces our chances of achieving remission. My stomach dropped. You're saying if he doesn't eat, the treatment won't work? I'm saying nutrition isn't optional. It's part of the treatment. His body needs fuel to fight the cancer and survive the chemo. We need to find something he'll eat. Anything. Kayla looked at me, desperate. What do we do? I didn't have an answer. I'd been closing the bakery early to spend time at the hospital with Charlie. My employees, bless them, had been covering shifts, keeping things running. But I still went in every morning at 4 a.m. to do what I'd always done, make bread. It was meditative, mixing flour and water and salt and yeast, kneading dough, watching it rise, shaping it, baking it. The same process my grandfather Beau had taught me when I was 10 years old. Bread is life, Jacques, he'd told me in his thick French accent. You make bread with your hands, but you make it with your heart too. People taste the difference. Making bread was the only thing that kept me sane during those first terrible weeks. Everything else was chaos. But in the bakery, at 4 a.m. with flour on my hands and the smell of sourdough starter in the air, there was order. It was a Thursday morning in early October, week 4 of Charlie's treatment. I was at home, making sourdough in our kitchen. I'd taken the day off from the bakery to stay with Charlie. The smell filled the house, yeast and warmth and something that felt like safety. Charlie appeared in the doorway. He'd been in bed for 2 days straight, pale, exhausted. The chemo was destroying him. Dad? I turned. Hey, buddy, you're up. Can I have a piece of the bread? I froze. Charlie hadn't asked for food in 3 weeks. We'd been forcing him to take tiny bites, watching him struggle not to vomit. Of course. Let me cut you a slice. I pulled the loaf from the oven. It had just finished cooling. Cut a thick piece, still warm, steam rising from the soft interior. Handed it to him. He took a small bite. Chewed slowly, swallowed. We both waited for the inevitable. The nausea, the running to the bathroom. But it didn't come. He took another bite. It's good, Dad. I had to turn away so he wouldn't see me crying. He ate the entire slice. Slowly, carefully. But he ate it. And he kept it down. That night, after Charlie was asleep, I sat with Kayla at the kitchen table. He ate today, I said. For the first time in weeks, he actually ate. Her eyes were red from crying, but there was hope there too. It was the bread. Just the bread. Nothing else. Kayla looked at me. Jacques, you can't make fresh bread every single day. You have the bakery to run. You're already exhausted. Yes, I can. If it keeps him eating, I can. For how long? Treatment lasts 2 to 3 years. Then I'll make bread for 2 to 3 years. Every single day. However long it takes. Jacques, Kayla, listen to me. I can't cure the cancer. I can't make the chemo less painful. I can't take this away from him. But I can make bread. It's the one thing I know how to do. And if bread is what keeps him eating, if it's what keeps him strong enough for treatment, then I'll make 1,000 loaves. 10,000. Whatever it takes. She was crying again. Okay, we'll figure it out. Together. I reached across the table and took her hand. I'm going to make him a different bread every day. Keep him interested. Keep him excited about eating. 365 loaves. 1 for every day of his first year of treatment. That's ambitious. He's worth it. Day 1. Sourdough. Classic. The bread that had started everything. Charlie ate 2 slices. Kept them both down. Day 2. Whole wheat honey bread. Sweet. Soft. He ate 1 slice. Day 3. French baguette. Crusty outside, soft inside. He ate half. By the end of the first week, we had a routine. I'd wake up at 3:30 a.m., go to the bakery, start the dough for the day's commercial bread. Then I'd start Charlie's special loaf. Something different. Something new. I'd bring it home by 7 a.m. Charlie would wake up to the smell, come downstairs in his pajamas, sit at the kitchen table, eat, not much, sometimes just a slice, sometimes two. But he was eating. And more importantly, he was keeping it down. Dr. Patel was cautiously optimistic. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. His weight has stabilized. That's critical. I started documenting the breads in a notebook, not for any reason other than to keep track, to make sure I didn't repeat too soon. Day 7, challah with honey. Day 10, rosemary focaccia. Day 15, Irish soda bread. Day 20, ciabatta. Day 25, rye with caraway seeds. Day 30, brioche. Some days Charlie loved the bread. Some days he'd take one bite and push the plate away. I can't, Dad. I'm sorry. It's okay, buddy. You don't have to eat if you can't. But he always tried. That was the thing. Even on his worst days, days when the chemo made him so sick he could barely get out of bed, he'd try. 1 bite, 2 bites. Because he knew I'd made it for him. Word got out somehow. Small town, tight community. People talk. One morning in November, Mrs. Kowalski came into the bakery. She'd been buying rye bread from me for 10 years. A Polish immigrant, probably in her 70s. She handed me a yellowed piece of paper covered in handwritten Polish. This is my grandmother's recipe. Chleb, honey bread. She made it for my mother when she was sick as a child. During the war, it kept her alive. I looked at the recipe. Mrs. Kowalski, I don't know if I can read this. I translated it. On the back. She turned the paper over. There, in careful English, measurements, instructions, notes about technique. I thought, maybe Charlie would like it. My throat tightened. Thank you. I'll make it for him. You're a good father, Jacques. Keep fighting. After she left, I stood in the bakery holding that piece of paper and cried. Then Mr. Hernandez brought a recipe for conchas, Mexican sweetbread. My daughter loved these when she was little. She's 25 now, but I still make them for her. Then the Nguyen family brought a recipe for banh mi bread, Vietnamese, our grandmother's recipe. Then the Johnsons brought their grandmother's southern biscuit recipe. Then the Patels, yes, Dr. Patel's family, brought a recipe for naan. Dr. Patel's wife came into the bakery herself. Albert told me what you're doing. This is our family's recipe for roti, Indian flatbread. Albert grew up eating this. Maybe Charlie will like it. My bakery became a collection of the world's breads, each one a gift, each one a piece of someone else's history, each one hope wrapped in flour and love. I made every single one for Charlie. Day 50. Polish honey bread, Mrs. Kowalski's recipe. Day 55. Mexican conchas. Day 60. Vietnamese banh mi bread. Day 65. Southern biscuits. Day 70. Indian roti. Charlie loved the roti. It's like a tortilla but better. I called Mrs. Patel to tell her. She cried. I'm so glad. We'll be praying for him. People I'd never met started leaving recipes at the bakery, tucked under the door, left at the counter, mailed to my home. Recipes from Italy, Greece, Ethiopia, Japan, Brazil, Spain, Portugal. I made all of them. Because each recipe wasn't just bread. It was someone saying, we see you. We see your struggle. We're with you. The chemo continued, week after week, month after month. Charlie's hair grew back slightly, then fell out again with the next round of treatment. He missed most of 3rd grade. We tried homeschooling, but some days he was too sick to focus. The worst days were the ones when he'd look at me and say, Dad, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I know, buddy, but we have to keep going. Why? Because you're going to beat this. Because you're strong. Because you have so much life ahead of you. What if I don't beat it? Those words nearly broke me, but I couldn't let him see that. Then we'll have spent every single day fighting together, and we'll have eaten some really good bread along the way." He smiled weakly. "The bread is good." "Tomorrow I'm making sourdough pancakes. Bread adjacent. Counts as a loaf." "That's cheating." "You'll eat them, though." "Yeah, I will." Month 8? February. Day 240-something. I'd lost exact count. Charlie spiked a fever, 105 degrees. His immune system, decimated by chemo, couldn't fight off what should have been a minor infection. We rushed him to the ER. They admitted him to the ICU. Sepsis. Life-threatening. I stood outside the glass window watching doctors and nurses swarm my son, tubes, machines, IVs. His small body barely visible under all the medical equipment. Kayla was inside with him, holding his hand, talking to him even though he was unconscious. I went home at 2 a.m., couldn't sleep, went to the bakery, made bread anyway. Challah, Charlie's favorite. I brought it to the hospital at 6 a.m. The ICU nurse stopped me at the door. "I'm sorry, sir, no outside food or drink in the ICU. Infection control. I know he can't eat it, he's intubated, but can I just leave it somewhere, at the nurse's station? I just want him to know I made it for him." She looked at the loaf, still warm in my hands. Her expression softened. "I'll put it in the family waiting room. When he wakes up and we move him out of ICU, we'll tell him it's there. Okay? Thank you." 3 days later, when they moved Charlie to a regular room, breathing on his own, no longer critical, the first thing the nurse said was, "Your dad made you bread. It's been sitting in the waiting room for 3 days. Do you want some of it?" Charlie's voice was barely a whisper. "Yes, please." They brought it to him. The challah was stale by then, 3 days old, but Charlie held it like it was treasure. "Dad made this while I was asleep?" "He made it the day you got admitted," the nurse said. "He couldn't bring it into ICU, but he wanted you to have it when you woke up." Charlie smiled weakly. "Can I have a piece?" "Let's start with small bites. Your stomach needs to wake up too." He ate 1 bite of 3-day-old challah, and he kept it down. Dr. Patel pulled me aside during rounds one morning. "You understand that the bread isn't curing the cancer, right?" "Of course," I said. "The chemo is treating the cancer." "Yes. But here's what you might not fully understand, Jacques. Without consistent nutrition, Charlie's body couldn't handle the aggressive protocol we're using. Most kids his age lose so much weight during treatment that we have to scale back the chemotherapy, use less effective dosages, which reduces their chances of remission." He looked at me seriously. Though it's not the most ideal, balanced diet, the bread kept Charlie strong enough for the medicine to work. His weight has remained relatively stable. His body has had the fuel it needed to fight. That's not a small thing. I nodded, unable to speak. "Whatever you're doing, the daily bread, the variety, the love you're putting into it, keep going." Day 300, sourdough with cranberries and walnuts. Day 3 and 10, pumpkin bread. Day 320, cinnamon swirl. Day 330, olive and herb focaccia. Day 340, potato bread day. 350, multigrain with seeds. We were getting close to 1 year, close to 365 loaves. Charlie was doing better. His latest scans showed the leukemia in remission. The cancer was still there. It would take years of maintenance therapy to fully eradicate it. But it was under control. Retreating. "He's responding incredibly well to treatment," Dr. Patel said during our checkup. Kayla and I cried in the parking lot afterward. Relief, exhaustion, hope. Day 365, 1 year, 365 loaves of bread. 1 for every single day of Charlie's first year of treatment. I made a special loaf, but this time I let him help. We stood side by side in our kitchen. Charlie's hair had grown back, thin and patchy, but there. His face had more color. He'd gained back some of the weight he'd lost. He was eating better, but bread was still his favorite. "Like this, Dad?" He was dividing the dough into 3 strands for braiding. "Perfect. You're a natural?" Grandpa Beau would be proud. He would. He'd be proud of both of us. We braided the dough together, his small hands working alongside mine, brushed it with egg wash, sprinkled it with sesame seeds, slid it into the oven. While it baked, Charlie asked quietly, "Am I going to be okay?" I knelt down so we were eye level. "The doctors say you're responding really well to treatment. The cancer is in remission. But am I going to be okay?" I chose my words carefully. "I can't promise you the future, Charlie. I wish I could. But here's what I can promise. We're going to keep fighting. Together. One day at a time. One loaf at a time. And no matter what happens, you're not alone. You'll never be alone." He hugged me. "I love you, Dad." "I love you too, buddy." The timer went off. The bread was ready. We pulled it out together. Golden brown, perfect. Charlie took the first slice, ate it slowly, savoring it. "This is the best one yet." "You helped make it. That's why." 3 years later. Charlie is 11 years old now. His hair is back, thick and dark like it was before. He's taller, stronger, healthy. He's been in complete remission for 2 years. 5-year survival rate for childhood ALL is over 90%. We're well on our way. Every Saturday, Charlie comes to the bakery with me. He's learning the craft. How to mix dough, how to shape loaves, how to know when bread is perfectly baked just by tapping the crust. "Will I be as good as you someday?" he asked last week. "You'll be better." "Will I be as good as Grandpa Bo?" I looked at my son, this boy who fought death and won, who ate bread every day for a year because he knew I made it with love. And I smiled. "You already are." I wrote a book, 365 Loaves, How I Fed My Son Through Cancer, One Bread at a Time. It's not a cookbook exactly. It's a memoir, a journal, a collection of recipes, yes, but also a collection of moments. The days Charlie couldn't eat, the days he ate 3 slices, the recipes from strangers that became gifts of hope. All the proceeds go to childhood cancer research. People write to me. Parents whose children are going through chemo. "My daughter won't eat. What bread should I try?" I write back. I send recipes. I send encouragement. I send hope. Because that's what bread was for us. It wasn't medicine. It wasn't a cure. But the bread kept Charlie alive long enough for the medicine to work. It gave him nutrition when nothing else would. It gave him routine when his life was chaos. It gave him something to look forward to every morning. It gave him a tangible reminder that he was loved, that someone was fighting for him, that even in the darkest moments, there was still warmth, still comfort, still home. The bread was love, made real, made daily, made with hands that refused to give up. Last month, Charlie asked me, "Dad, what bread are you going to make tomorrow?" We were in the kitchen. He was doing homework at the table. I was prepping dough for the bakery's morning shift. "I don't know. What do you want?" "Surprise me." I laughed. "I thought you were done with the daily bread thing." "I am, but sometimes I miss it. The routine, waking up and knowing you'd made something just for me." "I still make bread just for you every Saturday." "I know. But it's not the same as every day. And tomorrow morning, just like I've done for years now, I'll wake up at 4 a.m. I'll go to the bakery. And I'll make bread. Because bread is still my language. It's still how I say, "I love you." It's still how I make sense of the world. And every time I pull a loaf from the oven, golden, warm, perfect, I think about those 365 days, the hardest year of our lives, the year we fought death with flour and water and love, the year bread became more than food. It became hope, and hope, it turns out, is the most important ingredient of all. Have you ever found an unexpected way to show love during a crisis? Or discovered that a simple daily ritual became the thing that kept your family together? Share your story in the comments below. If this story about fathers and sons fighting impossible battles with love and bread and finding hope in the smallest daily acts touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more meaningful stories every day. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss our next inspiring tale. Thanks for watching.